All right, we are live here and wanted to share with you today that I've got someone really special here on my page sharing something that is really powerful, right? So I've got Kat Krasilnikoff here. I know how to say it, but I'm just like, man, it just like got ahead of me, right? So we're going to be talking about purpose. And if you've struggled for some reason to align with just getting your message out there and you feel like you're just hitting that roadblock, that's what we're going to be sharing today. But first, I want to introduce Kat, have her share a little bit about herself, what she does, and share a little bit of her story related to purpose. Kat, it's to you, my friend.
Yeah. Well, I'm really excited to be here with you, Paul. It's been a while since we kind of like connected one on one, but we've only always kind of like had each other,
Yes.
seeing each other and knowing like what we're doing. So I am in network marketing, all in, without even realizing it. Start really doing it professionally, or decided that I'm all in about 5 years ago, but I fully retired from my day job 2 years ago, and I'm now doing network marketing full time. And I'm also coaching and mentoring other network marketers who want to bring their business to that magic six-figure mark.
Perfect. And that's a big mark for a lot of people that really want to hit that marker because it signifies freedom for a lot of people, a lot of time freedom, and means a lot to people because they can do what they want to do with who they love, but they can be exactly who they want to be. And the other day, I'll share this too. Kat is an amazing leader and a boss, a group called Beach Boss Influencers. And this group is absolutely amazing. It's grown beyond her and her team's wildest dreams. And the other day, they were talking about the power of purpose in your life, in your business. And it really was a cornerstone and hit a nerve with Kat. And this was something that, we pitched a few ideas around. And this idea, this topic in particular, was something that struck a nerve. So, Kat, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so recently, actually, a couple of days ago, I did a training inside this group that you just mentioned. And the topic of the training was mastering authentic networking. And I started my training explaining to my students that you need to figure out your purpose in network marketing. And it has to be massive, transformative purpose, not just I want to make $200 or I want to make $500, although that's where we all start, right? And I was
Yeah.
really honest with them, and I told them I joined because I wanted my products to be free. I wanted extra $200, and I had already few people who wanted to buy. So that's why I joined. And then when I thought like, well, it also can help other people, that was a bonus for me, right? People will tell you, oh, I joined because I wanted to help people, and
Yeah.
money would be a bonus. I was brutally honest, and I told them that I joined for the money, and helping people was a bonus for me. But a second question I asked them, besides why you joined, why are you still doing it now? And I explained to them why was I still doing it now, and it was totally different from where I have started. So this is kind of like to continue this conversation. And why is it important to have that massive purpose is because you're not going to sustain yourself if you get think that just making wanting $200 or wanting $500 a month or even wanting $5,000 a month
Yeah.
gonna sustain you in this industry. It's gonna take a lot more from you, and you'll have to dig deeper and figure out what is your real purpose, your
Yeah.
massive your
I,
massive purpose.
yeah, I
Yeah.
completely agree with you. And, you know, can you explain to my audience and your audience, what do you think it is that about that won't sustain people? What is it exactly that people run up against that, they might have gotten to this, like you said, and I did the same thing, where you get into this for the money in the beginning and you get into it for yourself, but you have to find something deeper. But what is it that people run into, that like roadblock or two, that you see consistently as a leader in Beach Boss influencers?
Yeah. So usually, well, and there's huge conflict how traditional network marketing teaches people where this purpose totally gets lost. Like when you chase another rank or you chase another promotion, and that's where I was. So I hit that leadership mark and I got on the call with corporate team and they were coaching me how to hit the next rank. And they said, well, you just need to help 10 more people to get 25 customers each. And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I honestly, because that's what I did for myself. Now they said, well, you just have to duplicate it with like 10 more people. And I'm like, I don't want to do that because I knew what it took me to chase that rank. It wasn't feeding my soul. It was just, feeding my wallet. Let's put it that way. Yes, I enjoyed the money for a minute, but when I look back, this is not how I want to grow my business, or this is not what I want to like leave behind. Like it's not a purpose. So that's what my huge aha moment, like, wait a minute, money is good, but there's something else here that drives people, because obviously it wasn't driving me anymore. So that's when I start digging deeper and figure out why is it I'm doing it? What fires up my butt? What is it that drives us, and why there are people who stick in this industry through thick and thin, and there are a lot of people who just drop out because they just can't, they can't sustain to keep going, because honestly, first couple of years for majority of people, this industry is probably nonprofit.
Yeah, it really is. It's nonprofit. It's a hobby. All these things, and
it's expensive hobby.
Yeah, it's a very expensive hobby.
But it's something that keeps us going, right? There's something that even if you quit or take a break, you always come back. Or like, I gotta keep going because there's fire inside of me burning, and I gotta, let it out, or I gotta figure out what is it that it wants.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. And you've talked, if you're watching this now or you're watching this in the replay, and if you're jumping in live, just let us know who you are, where you're coming in from. We'd love to give you a shout out. But multiple times I've heard Kat say, there's something in here that you've got to either be crazy or you've got to have that drive, and it's here, and you don't know quite what it is until you know what it is. And if you figure it out, that's wonderful. And that's exactly what we're talking about. But there's that nagging feeling inside, like if you let this go, you've let go of the biggest thing in your life, or you let yourself down, or you let your family down because you know how important that thing is to you. And I just resonate with that so much. And it's crazy how that one little, we don't remember everything that we all say, right? But that's one of the few things that you said that stuck with me, and it's really authentic and it's powerful. So, talk about a little bit more of that nagging feeling that people get.
I actually discovered my massive purpose. Of course, everything happens for a reason. I was going to say unintentionally, but there's always higher purpose for everything that we're doing. Sure. And we just don't know it yet. So that's why it almost happened kind of like by default. It's like sort of when I start sharing my wisdom, my knowledge, my expertise with other people, I start literally sometimes seeing the transformation happening in front of my eyes. Like when the fear is lifted, when the worry is left behind, when you see that badass start coming out of that person, when they start leaving all their baggage behind, when they start dropping F-bombs in their speech here and there without caring.
And they're okay with it, and they're not apologizing for it.
They're okay with it. I was one of those people who were like, oh, I'm never going to say this word in public. Like, I had to. So when you see, people transforming in front of your eyes, and it's such a huge fulfillment, And it almost like it's selfish. Like I have to see this happening. That's what drives me now. I'm not here for the money. I hear a little bit of feedback. Do you hear it? Like
A little
maybe
bit,
it's just me.
a little bit.
So I even said if they will tell me like you only got to see this transformation one more time and you're gonna die, kind of like the bee when it stings you, it dies. I will go for it because
Yeah.
this is, I think, what drives us to see, because I've been through much through my journey and I have transformed personally so much. I know based on what I went through, what's ahead of that person who is in my shoes right now.
Yeah. And it's
So, and
weird that you say
sometimes
that.
it's
It's
like,
true though.
I know that it sucks that you're struggling, but I know what's next. So if you just hang on, if you just push through a little bit harder, a little bit longer, that's what's going to happen to you next. And sometimes just saying that, it gives person that hope, that next push, that just knowing that I'm on the right track. And stuff like this. So seeing those transformations, it also takes time. Like you look at the person when they come to you
Mhm.
and they have all that fear and worry. And now you look back 6 months, a year, and they're total badass, killing it. It's like, that's what I want to see. I want to see other people blossom, and succeed and transform lives and all that stuff. So that's what drives me.
Yeah.
But
I love that.
everyone has to figure out what drives them. So
Yeah.
everyone has a different purpose, I think.
Yeah. I completely
What's
agree with
what's your
you.
purpose, Paul? Share yours because I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure it's
Yeah.
badass as well.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Yeah. Mine is, newly discovered, had my purpose before and it's transforming, right? And that's a lot of the reason why we're having this chat is you've recently done a live in your group in Beach Boss Influencers. And then I've talked about my recent transformation of purpose and redefining that recently for me. And it wasn't what I thought it was, right? So I had this idea in my head that this is my purpose. And it was more than money for me, but it ultimately wasn't what I thought it was. And for me, it's transforming people's lives, not just with the time freedom, but fundamentally their health, their impact to how they show up for their families, a better sex life, just being able to be everything that you are, being healthy, being able to run with your kids. Like I'm experiencing these things on a really like very personal level. So I know that people want this, right? And for the longest time for me, it was just like I'm too much in my head in the past. This is not anymore. It's great to be logical. It's great to evaluate, but if you've been stuck here, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. And like what Kat said, when you've been on a journey, you know what's next for the person. You know exactly what's coming up. And for me, I was so logical and so just like, okay, this is what I need to do step by step. But guys, it's not all logic. You have to figure out, like Kat says, there's something in here that's nagging. You got to figure out what that is. And
You gotta
either
pay
you're going to
attention.
you pay attention, you pay attention.
Yeah.
Either you figure it out and you're like, aha, this is it. Or you're going to be walking through or doing something in your life one day and it's going to bite you in the butt. For me, it bit me in the butt when I least expected it. I'm like, this is it. And like Kat said, like you said, Kat, I was paying attention. Like, this is it. Because for me, this is the a spot that I was in pain for so long and I didn't realize it. And it impacted the way I was showing up. But I wasn't thinking about it. I wasn't thinking about it. I was trying to be too logical. And like, yeah, I'm going to help people. I'm going to transform lives. But it was from a point of like using my brain too much and not my heart. So that affects everything that how you show up. And when you do that, you're not really connecting with people like how you want to. So that impacted me for quite a while. And when you do that, your self-confidence and you figure out your purpose, your self-confidence it just magically, it seems like it just shows up on a different level. on a different level. I can't explain it, but I no longer on a higher level. I mean, I'm very self-confident before, right? Kat, let me know if you've felt this way too, but it's like you're walking around and you don't need validation from people anymore. You don't need to hear that you're doing a good job. You just know it. You don't need praise. You're just like, you're on a course and it aligns with the
You're on a
purpose.
mission, and
You're
you
on a
don't care
mission.
about
Yeah.
other people's opinions anymore.
Yeah. It's crazy.
You're on a mission. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's just like, I get chills when I talk about it because I'm like, this is it. And you know it from talking to people, in your group, and I know it from personally experiencing it firsthand. And it's almost like a rebirth. Would you agree?
Absolutely. It's like
Yeah.
old you dies and the new you shines through. And
Yeah.
the funny part, it always was within you. You're like, it's some sort of, we're so guarded and so closed up
Yeah.
from, our past experiences or whatever it is, for it's different things for different people. But we're so closed up and we're afraid to show who we really are. But we already were those badasses. We're just needed to confirm with ourselves, like, yeah, you are a badass. Just go
Exactly.
shine and go show people what's in there, what's inside, what drives you, what struggles you going through each day. Because people think that struggles is something you should avoid, right? Or something you should not share with other people. Like, you have to show this perfect facade that you're amazing and everything's going on right. But when you actually show up like it is and show your struggles and show your roadblocks, people start realizing that you're just like them. And that's what connects people. That's what attracts people to each other. Just knowing that, oh, this person is just like me. They don't care like what company you're in. They don't care what compensation plan you represent. They want to know if you can help them. And if they can feel that you're just like them, you're just a few steps ahead, that's what's going to attract them to you. The real stuff.
The real stuff. So how many people would you say are real with themselves that you see on social media? If you gave me or anybody who's watching this, like, a percentage, how many people are real on social media?
1%.
Yeah. It's really
and
small,
actually,
isn't it?
you shared something in our team this week, being real with yourself, and I needed that because I noticed that I start chasing the perfect image that people want to see from me. That's what I think, right? Oh, they want me to look certain way. They want me to speak certain way. I need to make sure I brush my hair. Oh, whatever,
Hey, it looks good, by the way, today.
Especially women, we're all sensitive about this stuff.
Right.
But when you start talking, I was like, oh my gosh, I need to go back to my roots and paying more attention to what's going on in there and showing the real me, like what's really there, what drives me. And the funny thing, when you talked about what you talked about, literally 10 minutes ago, I saw something on Instagram that was talking about identity gap. And you described it, but in my head, it was those slides. There were 3 slides that said identity gap. It's like you think people want to see you, and then how you see or who you really are. And in between, like how this gap's created is through fear, anxiety, shame, worry, and all of those things that happened to you in the past that make you feel insecure in who you are right now. So you create this identity gap. And you need to work eliminating those gaps and just showing up like you are. It's not easy. It's a process. You're not going to wake up next day and say, oh, I'm a badass and I'm going to show just like it is. No.
No, it's not that way at all. Unfortunately, you guys, it's not that way at all.
No, it's a process, but it's a beautiful process, because it's not only going to free you from all the BS that you've been carrying around about yourself, about what people think about you, or what you should do, what you shouldn't do, those opinions and judgments and whatnot. Once you release all that crap and leave it behind and just focus on basically what you got now,
Yeah.
it's a beautiful world that we live in. And it's like, why not to be appreciative of it and,
Yeah.
celebrate what you got?
So yeah, that's a perfect way to put it. If you find those images, shoot them over to me. I'd love to see them, especially with what's I shared in the group the other day.
I was actually, did Paul see those images too? I was like,
No, I
did he
didn't see
see
those.
those? Because it sounds like he did. See, we were like on the same, and I usually,
Yeah.
on Instagram, there's so much stuff. I don't remember
Right.
many things, but those kind of like stuck with me because I was like, oh, this is so interesting how it explains, like, because a lot of people struggle with it and they don't even know what it is, right? They
Yeah.
can't even be honest with themselves. That's
Yeah.
how much they're guarded, how big those onions layers are.
Yeah, there's a lot of onion layers, and that's a really good point. Like, people are really guarded. People can get defensive or whatever, and it's natural. But when you talked about there's those layers in there, you might not even be aware of what they are, and you don't know what you don't know. It sucks as one thing, like you identify that there's this gap, but what if you don't even know that the gap is even there in the first place? Then that's another layer deep, and you're like, oh man, am I screwed? Am I just like,
Yeah. So another thing why I decided that we should talk about this
Mhm.
topic, because that's exactly what I was talking in my training, although it was about networking and building relationships. But I started with, you gotta identify your purpose, and it's better be bigger than you are, because
Yeah.
we're so like scared, like, oh my gosh, I'm actually gonna be like this amazing person, a leader who leads massive teams and transforms many lives. We get scared because this is not something like we're
We're not used to
comfortable
it.
with. We're
No,
not used to
no,
it. Yeah.
no.
So I was telling people, you got to figure out your massive purpose. And I gave them a formula, actually. It's a very easy formula. Simple. Let's put it that way. It's simple. It's not always easy, but it's simple. And whatever you said, like in your bullets, you gave it away exactly what I told them, and like how to identify your purpose.
Awesome.
Do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Yes, let's please do. I think people need to hear this, because I think if I would have had this a few years ago, I wouldn't have had as much of a struggle that I did, there's beauty in the struggle. But yeah, please share that with us here. I think people would appreciate it.
A lot of people will tell you got to figure out your why. Like, why is usually like a cliche word here in the industry, but me and you have been in a different kinds of trainings, and it actually comes down to you have to figure out the first thing, who you want to help, who are your people, because you can't be running around and just screaming on top of your lungs how amazing your products are and your company is, and expecting all the people jumping on board and wanting to transform their lives. So you have to really dig deep and think, who are the people that dear to your heart? Who are these people that you can relate to? It's basically what we tell our students. It's that person that you were 2 months ago, 2 years ago, before you stepped on into this journey. Like, they are exact same people. And usually, we resonate with people. Maybe they are nurses just like you are, because they work so much, insane shifts, and they sacrifice their families and their lives. Maybe that's what's dear to your heart. Maybe it's teachers. Maybe it's stay-home moms who just want to, help their husbands to be home more often and stuff like this. So you got to figure out, who are these people that you want to hang out with, and you want to, talk to. And the funny thing, I always used to say before I stepped into this journey that I hate talking to people. I'm an introvert. I'm so uncomfortable. And I was like, well, why, right? Why I'm not this way anymore? It's just because I'm talking to my people. and we're going through the same thing. But when you're
Yeah.
talking to everyone, it's like, and I literally, that's what I say, when you're trying to talk to everyone, there's assholes, there's weirdos. Who else is out there? There's
Yeah.
people who are judging you, there's people who don't care about you, and they literally drain your energy
Yeah.
because they're not your people. And that's why I hated it. Once you figure out who are your people, you're not going to be able to shut up talking to those people because you're passionate about the same things. You have that same fire, and you suddenly become an extrovert, and you don't even know how that happened. Well, it's because you're talking to your people and you have the same massive transformative purpose. So
That's a great point. And it's like it's not even an uphill battle anymore. It's just you're in flow. You're in
yeah.
flow with your purpose and your mission, and it's not work anymore to do what you need to do. You don't have those weirdos. You don't have those assholes that you have to talk to.
Yeah.
I know. I say it. I'm like, oh.
No, I say it how it is.
Yep. That's perfect. So the first thing is figure out who you want to help. And I think you hit on something that's really important. I'm just going to bring it back full circle here, because if you are watching this live now or you're watching this on the replay, make sure that it's figuring out yourself, who you were before you experienced your shift, your change. I think that's so important, because that's what I had a shift in, and I know exactly what Kat's talking about here. And if you haven't experienced the shift yet, get ready, because it's going to blow you out of your seat. But you got to figure out who you're talking to and figure out who you were right before them, because that's how you connect with your who exactly you want to help. So, Kat, what's the second thing?
The second one is what?
Okay.
What do you want to help them with?
Okay.
So you got to be very specific and know exactly, what are you going to help them with? Right? So we got we have knowledge in different areas. And it doesn't always have to be about your niche, about your products. It's just what inspires you. Like, what's your passion? What, like I said, like, people ask this question on social media. I've seen it many times. If you could speak about something nonstop for like 30 minutes, what it would be about, right?
Yeah.
So it could be anything, right? So there are people who actually need that information. So you just have to figure out what is it that you're going to help them with. And it could be different things. So, and out of these two questions, now we come to our why. Like, why are you still doing this? Or why did you answer the knock on your door, right? And usually people say, oh, I'm doing it. They say to help other people, right? They say, I'm doing it for others.
Yep.
Some people will say, I'm doing it for my kids. Some people will say, I'm doing it for my spouse. But in reality, we're doing it for ourselves.
Yep.
In the first place. And when I had that aha moment that I'm doing it for myself and being okay with it, because how like, oh, that's selfish. Absolutely not, because I'm doing it for myself, because that's what drives me. That transformation of seeing that transformation of other people, that's what I want for myself. And that's what drives me. And that's my why. And I don't think it's selfish.
No, not selfish
But
at all.
actually, we're humans. We're selfish beings. That's how we are. We would not survive if we're not selfish. So you have to be okay that you're doing it for yourself. And once you be that honest, like, it's going to be so much easier doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
So much easier.
I completely agree with you. I mean, you think about just at the very basic level. I mean, we think about, oh, I'm hungry, I got to eat. I'm thirsty, I got to drink something. So it comes back, but I mean, thinking about all the other things that are related to just like a simple example like that, we are selfish, but at the same time, how can you, if you're watching this, how can you turn that selfishness to help others, right? So that's the key that a lot of people, when I'm reading their posts and I'm watching their videos, it's about their product, but they don't really tie in how it's going to help the person. It's great that they're using it, whatever it is. And a product post is just one example, but it doesn't show how it's going to help transform people. It's like, it's on sale. It tastes really good. Okay, great.
So does Amazon, has sales every day.
Every day, and I can find it cheaper. I can go to eBay and find it cheaper. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Did we cover all of them? Because I've got the first, second, and third.
I don't know. Let's see. That was my formula.
Okay, perfect. So
that
first,
was aligned with yours. I'm like, man, we're on the same page on that one.
yeah, it's perfect. Figure out who you want to help is the first thing. Second,
then you
what
said
you want to help them
we
with.
need,
And then third, why are you still doing this?
and then you said bringing your heart into focus. This is very important too. And we talked about that too in the beginning
absolutely.
and in the middle. So yeah, I was like, man, we're like tuned to the same waves.
I'm with you. I'm with you.
I was like, it's either Paul watched my training inside Beach Boss Influencers, or he saw the slides that I saw on Instagram, or something is weird going on here.
It's the third option. Something weird
it's the
is
third.
going on.
It's the universe.
Yeah, it's the universe. It's the law of attraction. Like I said, it happened naturally and everything. You know, it's just it's the journey. It's which is amazing. So, closing thoughts that you have. If people are struggling with their sense of purpose, how can they find you and how can you help them?
So, sense of purpose and passion. I actually was that way. Like, I didn't know what is it I want out of my life besides money. I thought money will solve all my problems.
Me too.
I'm going to tell you guys.
And we get older and we get wiser.
I have plenty of those things right now, and it's not what makes you happy. Absolutely not. So, how do you find your passion and your purpose? Dang, I had a good one. Yeah, it was me. Like, for the longest time, I didn't know what it was because honestly, I did not have time to figure it out. Like, my life was so busy, like work, home, kids, dinner, bed, house, whatever. I honestly did not have a time to slow down and just think, what is it that I want? Not what my kids want, not what my husband wants, not what my boss wants, not what my mom wants. What is it that I want? And I had no idea. Like, honestly, for the longest time ever, I had no idea. So my biggest advice would be just slow down and take those 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Now I even spend about an hour each morning, sometimes 2 hours just for myself. And I don't care if my phone is going crazy or kids are killing each other. They know that they're not going to see me. You train them. You train them.
Yeah.
So I dig deep and I figure out what is it that I want, right, out of my life. And it can change. You know, you can be passionate about one thing and then it transforms into something different. Absolutely. But it's still, as long as it serves you and other people, it's still beautiful. So it's kind of like people have to take time for themselves and figure out what is it that they want. And I have a very cool question that I ask a lot of people. Let's say usually it starts, if money and time was not an issue, right? If you made all the money in the world that you want to make, you paid all your debt, you paid off your house, you paid all the charities, you took care of all other people that you need to take care of, and now it's just you and your time and your money. What would be the thing that you do for yourself? And people do not know the answer. So take this 5 minutes and think about it, and you will come up with something, right? Especially those people who are still trying to figure it out.
Perfect. And I'm putting that up here. Maybe it won't show up. But yeah, you guys have got it in the comments. Oh, there it is. So again, if money and time was not an issue, debt was paid, all other people in your life were taken care of, and now it's just you, what would be the thing that you do for yourself? And this is the question. Like, if you would have asked me this 2 years ago, I would have had no idea. No idea. And I was on my network marketing journey. I was a year in. That was my struggle. So I'm trying to, just connect the two here. So if you're on here and you're like, I have no idea, go into this question, because it's a good question, Kat. It is a good question.
And the next thing, once you figure it out, go and do it right away. You don't have to wait. You don't have to wait.
I know from personal experience.
Usually it would be something that doesn't require money or time, because you would have it all, right? It's if money and time was not an issue. So you think about something that it would not require money or for you to have extra time. It usually is something that doesn't require the material things. And I tell people, well, start doing that. Why not?
Yeah. Like if you were to, I want to tag on that for a second. If you were to identify for you, like the top 3 things in your life, I don't want to put you in the spot like this, but I'm putting you on the spot like this. So, money for you is not the biggest thing. It's not the biggest thing for me. It used to be, like you had the fun toys, this, that, the trips, it's like, whatever. We get older, we get either wiser, or we just grow beyond that phase. So what are the top 3 things that are most important for you in your life?
Well, of course, it's family. I think it's always that drives us is our family. And for me, being so far away from my mom, it's the only parent I have left. Especially now with the COVID, we don't have luxury of, going and knocking on each other's door.
True.
So that's kind of like breaks my heart right now, because I know the older they get, their time is limited here. And I want all those things that my mom used to tell me, well, you will be my age, you will understand what I mean. And I'm like, yep, now I am here now. So that's what I kind of want, because this is kind of like your family souls. They are your family for a reason, and there's not enough time to connect with them, especially for me. So that's what kind of like, it's my purpose, to spend as much time as I can with my family, whether it's older family or even kids. I mean, they grow up so fast. Just slow down and
sure. I mean, watching Adam grow up right before our eyes, I was just like, how is he that tall? Like, he's just, and by the way, I swear he looks just like my nephew, Jaden. It's crazy. But anyways, you're right. That's really important. So what would be like, maybe like one more, like a second thing for you?
Okay, second thing for me, I do little surprises it's for other people, but because it fulfills me. Let's put it that way, right?
Yeah, that's cool.
It's kind of selfish, right? But it's all of it is like this. We do it to feel good about what we do.
Yeah.
So I like doing little, things for other people, and they don't have to be big and huge, but just like little, what do you call it? Little pockets of kindness or something, like when they least expect it. So that's kind of like what I like doing.
Completely resonate with you on that one. That's a big thing for me too. And we actually have family coming over tonight, and me and Luke were just out in our local Haymarket district, which is a really cool area of Lincoln. And we were out in one of these places called 10,000 Villages, where you can get these really cool gifts. And we saw like this really cool set of something, and we're like, this will be perfect for like our brother-in-laws. So we got that, and we're going to give it to him tonight, but it wasn't anything we were looking for. It was just like, it would make us happy for them to know that we were thinking of them. But yeah, because they love to cook. And so it's something related to that. So, but it's selfish on one hand.
And it's not.
But it's not. And it's like, it's really cool to like say, hey, we were thinking of you, and we know you guys are going to absolutely love this, because they are in the kitchen all the time. So
Yeah, it's one
yeah,
thing when it's someone's birthday or anniversary and kind of like they expect you to get them a
yeah,
gift
yeah,
and you're like,
yeah,
oh, I just gotta get them a gift. And usually
yeah,
it's not that enjoyable when it's just you see something, it's like, oh my gosh, I gotta buy it for that person,
yeah,
you know?
yeah. And then they think of you every time they either use it or,
Yeah.
whatever. Cool. Awesome. Well, this has been a really, I mean, for me, and I hope for you guys as well. And drop any questions down below that you might have. But I would challenge you to drop like maybe one point that you got out of here that was really a great takeaway for you down below. And Kat, thank you for joining on here today. Really appreciate it. As we close, what is the best way for people to get a hold of you? And how can they get involved with you in Beach Boss Influencers if possible?
Okay, so I'm one of the 5 crazy fun ladies that we call ourselves Beach Boss influencers. We help other network marketers to figure out what is it that they want out of their business. And it's usually money in the beginning, right?
Yeah.
But it always leads to discovering something much more. So it's a coaching platform, and they can go to beachbossinfluencers.com and check it out.
Cool. Love it. I will drop that down here. Beach Boss Influencers, you said?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. Got that up here. It is up on the screen. So guys, if you're watching this now or on the replay, go ahead and check out Beach Boss Influencers. You can find Kat and some other amazing leaders in that community. I promise you will not be disappointed because I know that Kat is driven. She is hungry, and she will make sure that she invests in you fully. So yeah.
I was just gonna say, I don't know where it came from. Like Sex in the City, the show for women, how they. So we're kind of like that, but in network marketing.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, you are. You are absolutely.
There you go.
So, which one would you be? Would you be Carrie or Miranda?
I will be Charlotte.
Charlotte. Okay, Charlotte. Yeah. I love Charlotte. She's awesome. Yeah, I watched every single episode of Sex and the City and both movies. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, me too. So we're Sex and the City of network marketing.
I'm just gonna call you Charlotte next time. It'd be like a lot easier for your last name. So that's perfect. All right. Any closing thoughts that you have, my friend?
Well, it was so fun talking to you and pleasure. I always learn from you a lot. And, every once in a while, we need that punch in the gut to pick up the pieces and be true to who we are and keep moving.
Yeah. We do. We do. All right. Well, hey, thank you so much for jumping on. And if you were on the replay here or live right now, thank you for jumping on. Marina, saw you on here. Angeline, thank you so much for jumping on. Katie, Sue, ladies, thank you so much for jumping on here. Definitely recommend this video, this replay to anyone that might be struggling with their purpose, because this is a powerful conversation. And Kat dropped in here 3 powerful ways to really find that for yourself. So Kat, again, thank you so much. Appreciate your time today, my friend. And this live is a wrap. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.